We're turning overseas now, and North Korea has reported more than 230,000 suspected cases of COVID and a further 6 deaths. Leader Kim Jong Un has accused health officials of immaturity and slackness in containing the outbreak. Joining us live now from Seoul is Ye Hee Lee from the Washington Post. Appreciate your time, Michelle. Just how bad is the COVID situation in North Korea? The death rate, only with 6 extra ones today compared to the case numbers, still seems on the low side.
Right. The issue in North Korea right now is that the cases seem to be spreading quickly. Ever since North Korea announced that it has seen its first case of the BA.2 subvariant of Omicron, it's reported now more than 1.7 million suspected cases have spread throughout the country, but the deaths do remain low. It's about 61 deaths in total so far, and the rate is quite below what we have seen BA.2 to what we know of BA.2. However, the real concern in North Korea is just the lack of infrastructure and access to medicine and access to healthcare. Other than the capital city of Pyongyang, where it's really the most elite and wealthiest residents, the rest of the country is quite impoverished and they don't have adequate access to healthcare. So people are struggling to find even the most basic cold medicine to treat their symptoms of fever and other related issues.
So is it possible we're not getting accurate information about the death toll there? Because that would be quite remarkable if they did manage to keep it so low, considering that the vaccination process hasn't kicked kicked off at all.
Right. North Korea is one of 2 countries in the world without a vaccine program. The other is Eritrea. And, we do have to go by the numbers that North Korea is reporting for now. And there is a likelihood that it's not the full picture. It's actually, it could be an undercount because the North Korea reporting system likely is not capturing the deaths that is out in the rural areas where they can't really hear from the local officials in charge for many days. And so without knowing exactly what the communication system is like internally, we can't really trust the numbers that they're telling us. But at least what they're telling us for now does seem to be below the death rate that we know of the BA.2. But we really have to see how quickly it spreads and hope that sometime in the future we will have some way to corroborate their figures.
How has the country been able to keep COVID out for the past couple of years? How come it hasn't taken off earlier?
Well, this is the first time North Korea is officially announcing that it has had a COVID case. But most experts I talk to believe that North Korea has had some sort of COVID or another here or there, but they haven't been open about it. One of the theories among the analysts that study North Korea is that perhaps it hit the capital of Pyongyang in a way that North Korean leader Kim Jong Un could not avoid talking about it. And he had to show very publicly that he is on top of it, he is controlling the spread of this, and that he has all these measures in place so that he could calm the fears of the residents. But North Korea has had a very strict border lockdown, similar to what we've seen in China, where it's just been a zero COVID policy and they don't let many people in or out. North Korea has completely shuttered its border, even to China, which it really relies on for trade. And it's just stopped most trade with China, really to the detriment of its residents and its economy. But it's been very determined to keep COVID out and keep anybody from entering the country because it has been worried that it could spread like rapid wildfire throughout the country, which it seems to be doing now.
Michelle, early on in the pandemic, South Korea was held up as the gold standard in terms of managing the outbreaks. What's the situation there in Seoul where you are now?
Well, Seoul, COVID is very much subsiding, which is nice to see because for some time in the spring, Omicron was spreading very quickly to the point we were seeing like 600,000 cases a day. It was quite quick that Omicron just tore through the country. Many people had it. I believe something like a third of the country has now had Omicron. But there are very high booster rates here in South Korea. More than 2/3 of the country has had the booster. I think is something like 70 or 80% at this point. So COVID has gotten a lot better. And South Korea has never really had a lockdown here. They've had some limitations on the number of people who could gather. But now hanging around Seoul, it seems like COVID is a lot better now. The outdoor mask mandate has dropped finally. I know a lot of people were worried about that with summer coming. So there are people unmasking outdoors. There are still mask requirements indoors, but life seems to be continuing quite like normal here.
It's always fascinating to learn how other countries are dealing with the COVID challenge. Michelle Ye Hee Lee from the Washington Post, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.